that free agent class of centers is looking pretty damn bleak. And I've at least had the thought of a Bo Horvat reunion. And that his cap hit, although I didn't want them to sign it at the time, his cap hit in the grand scheme of things, cap going up, doesn't look all that bad, does it? He's someone you know. We know he fits in this market. We know this market liked him. I know that better than Vancouver comment is still rubbing some people the wrong way, but I've at least thought about a Bo Horvat reunion. Am I crazy?
You're not crazy, but I don't know if it makes sense.
Like logistically speaking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, unless the Islanders say we're blowing this up, we're rebuilding, which
Lou's not going to do.
Lou's not going to do.
But he might. No one ever really knows what Lou Lamoriello is doing.
Lou Lamoriello is the most conservative general manager out there. Right? He's the classic, if you have time, use it. It took him forever to decide just to move Brock Nelson in the first place, which should have been a pretty straightforward decision that, hey, even if you get into the playoffs, you're not doing any damage. Brock Nelson would get you a haul because of the lack of high-end centers. It should have been a no-brainer for the Isles to deal him the entire time, and nobody around the league knew for the longest time if Lou Lamoriello was going to trade away an aging pending UFA off his non-contending team for a haul. Like that's how conservative he is as a general manager. That's how sort of patient he is. So I wouldn't be holding my breath that he's going to be really willing to shop Bo. Isles already have such a shortage of high-end forwards. That's why they traded for Horvat in the first place. Only scenario where he's available is if the Islanders say, we're blowing this up. And for that to happen, you'd probably be looking at some sort of major hockey operations turnover in the front office.
So that has to happen first. What route do you think the Canucks are going to go to address their center depth? That was another question from a couple of people actually asked about addressing the center depth in the offseason. But like, if you had to give an answer, what route are they going to go to address this? Because it doesn't look like there's anyone in free agency. There's a couple names, but guess what? A bunch of other teams are going to be trying to sign them. So if you missed out on that, like, what's your plan? Who is your Anthony Santander?
Who?
Jays missed out on Juan Soto this offseason. They missed out on Ohtani, but they missed out on Soto this offseason. They pivoted and got Anthony Santander. Their plan B. Who is the Canucks plan B?
It's so early. I wish I had an answer for you. A couple of them, like Josh Norris and Dylan Cousins, already got shipped out.
Yeah.
I mean, Marco Rossi could be available, but I don't know how appealing he'd be to Canucks management because he isn't a big body. He's an undersized guy. I imagine if Sam Bennett is available that they'll try and make a run for him in free agency. But right now, the trade market looks kind of thin, right? Even a name like Braden Shen, who we thought might be available, all of a sudden Blues are red hot. Shen's turned it around. It'd be shocking if he's available. Is there a scenario where Ryan O'Reilly shakes loose? But even then, O'Reilly's getting up there in age. He can play second line center minutes, but is he a high-end name at this stage in his career? I don't love his foot speed. I don't love the fit there, right? But that's I'm just throwing names out there as far as like top 6 centers who might be available. I haven't done a full look around the league, but I'll be honest, the options aren't that appealing.
Calcio Storico said this in the chat. He said, the lack of asset acquisition on pending UFAs this season really makes it hard to imagine the Canucks making a big move for a center. Can I give you a prediction?
Yeah.
Canucks re-signed both Besser and Suter.
Okay. That's bold.
I think it is, right? But I'm looking around. They got no assets for either of those guys. So you can't go trade for, well, you could, but you'd rather not, and you didn't go get assets for those guys. All you have to show for your work at the deadline is a 3rd-round pick for Carson Soucy, which is going to help. It's absolutely going to help. But the fact that that's all they did at the deadline, and whether you, no matter what you believe, they could have gotten at least a 2nd-round pick for Brock Besser and at least a 3rd or a 2nd. At least a 3rd, let's be conservative, for Pius Suter. Like, those are assets that could help you go make a trade and go get a guy that you need. So to lose both of those guys and to see a pretty thin UFA market where, yeah, you go after Sam Bennett, but guess what? A lot of teams are going to go after Sam Bennett. And if you lose out on Sam Bennett, then what do? You look at the trade market. We went over yesterday how they don't have many assets that they can use for an offer sheet. They're basically in one range of the offer sheet range. So their only option, it would seem, is go try to sign someone. But if you miss out, you're going to have to trade for someone. And then at that point, you don't have a ton of assets that you can flip in a trade, you would think.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy.
So I think they re-sign both, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay. If there's a scenario where Mason McTavish, who's an RFA, the Ducks already have, plenty of center options, especially with Leo Carlson sort of being their franchise guy. I think it's a long shot that he's available, but he's sort of stagnated this year, hasn't taken the big step that I think a lot of people in that market were hoping for. I'd be making that call if I'm the Canucks. Again, no idea if the Ducks have any interest in moving him at all. If I was the Ducks, I wouldn't be interested in moving
No,
Mason
I wouldn't
McTavish.
either. I love Mason
Um,
McTavish.
but you make that call if you're the Canucks. You have to at least see if they'd be willing to listen.